NFL Power Rankings heading into Week 10. There's a clear top 2 teams in the league right now, but let's rank all 32. The bottom part of the rankings are staying pretty much the same for right now. The Titans are starting games fairly well. They're just not even coming close to finishing them. The Jets at 31, off the bye, a battle with the Browns this upcoming week. Number 30, the Saints. They're still losing. Thought they were playing a little better earlier in the year compared to now, so that's obviously not good at all. 29, the Raiders have had a decent shot to win that game. Offense and defense could not get on the same page at the same time, which was unfortunate. There is a positive thing. The offense has some life with the unstoppable Brock Bowers back in it, so it's really good to see him back healthy on the field. The Browns stay at 28. Like I said, an interesting battle against the Jets this upcoming week. 2 teams off the bye. We'll see who pulls that one off. Tommy Rees taking over play calling duties. Is that a good thing or bad thing? I guess it can't hurt, but his past experiences, mainly at the college level, did not go well, so I'm intrigued by that. Again, can't hurt. Giants at 27. They started fairly well in this game. By that, I mean the first drive. After that, it was a complete collapse. I suppose a winnable game against the Bears this upcoming week. Maybe a must-win for the Giants. The Dolphins down 2 spots at 26. They outplayed the Ravens in the first half, and they were still losing. So, of course, that meant they were going to get embarrassed in the second half like they did, and now they're selling at the deadline like they probably should. 25, the Bengals down 2 spots. The offense did enough once again. The defense just absolutely horrendous, historically bad. Are they the worst defense or the Cowboys? It's probably the Bengals right now. That's pretty bad to be the bottom defense in the NFL, especially this year. I mean, how much is going to keep up with this offense when they play better defenses too? So they've kind of blown their chances. This defense is just terrible. 24, the Commanders down 2 spots, unlucky with the injuries, but that's really not an excuse. They were playing bad football when they were healthy. Very underwhelming, very disappointing. The doubters, a lot of doubters on them going into this year. They're being proven right, but now going forward, it's kind of deflating because it feels like their season's almost over because the injuries, even though Mariota has played well when stepping in, but it's not looking great for the Commanders. 23, the Cowboys get embarrassed on Monday Night Football just a little bit ago. The defense remains terrible, but the offense couldn't even finish, couldn't even execute. And the coaching, I thought, was terrible. A lot of bad decisions, a lot of bad play calls. It's really not the number one problem, but it wasn't good in this game. So, I mean, when nothing's working, when your offense isn't working, they're not going to win. They're simply not going to win. So that's pretty brutal. They pretty much have to play other bad defenses to have a shot, and that's not good. And they're going to play tougher competition going forward. So this was a bad one for the Cowboys. It was rough. Maybe they won't be as sloppy going forward in games, but that's still a rough one. Falcons down 3 spots, a very winnable game against the Patriots. It's almost one of those ones you got to win. Almost one of those ones where you're going, if you can't pull that one off, how can we fully trust you to pull any off? Because the Patriots were pretty sloppy. I thought things were really going the Falcons' way in that game. Maybe you could debate that, but they got to find a way. The missed extra point was tough. They got to find a way to win that one. They're complaining about a safety clapping, forcing the center to snap the ball 25 yards down the field. I don't know if they're talking about the right stuff right now. So they're very inconsistent. They should be better than they are right now. So disappointing. But I guess they played a good team close. And Drake London was unreal. There's some positives, I suppose. 21, the Cardinals really impress on Monday Night Football. They get a little healthier, and they look a lot better. Maybe they're better in their record. Is that going to be a thing going forward? Walter Nolan stepping in for his first game. Very much impressed with him. I'm a huge fan already. Excited about his season in career. Jacoby Brissett impressing. Marvin Harrison Jr. impressing. The defense shutting down, for the most part, that explosive, typically good Cowboys offense. I know the Cowboys defense is bad, but Dallas, sometimes they're pretty tough. So very much impressed with the Cardinals. Hey, when they're healthier, like they are right now, maybe they're a little sneaky, so got to give them some love. The Vikings kind of in the same boat here, but not only do they upset the Lions, they beat the Lions in Detroit, something they couldn't do when they were a really good team. Right now they're struggling, they do that. Not only do they do that, but a good look for Minnesota because the offense of line was as healthy as it's been all year going into this game, and they look like a good team, but you kind of look back when it's been fairly healthy this year. they've won football games. So maybe we've been a little too down on the Vikings when they had that kind of legitimate excuse there. So if they have an offensive line out there, can they win football games going forward? So far, it looks like that, but an impressive outing from McCarthy and company here, getting a lot of pressure on the line. So they're going to go up 5 spots to number 20. 19, Panthers go up a spot. Being the Packers' big-time upset, the defense is playing very, very well. Rico Dowdle continues to impress. Yeah, for upsetting a good team like the Packers like that, you kind of want to move them up more. There's a lot of teams that it's hard to move them up ahead of right now. But, yeah, the Panthers turning some heads. See if they get something consistent going finally here. 18, the Bears will stay put. Pretty outing on offense, not so much on defense. Yeah, the offenses for both those teams look pretty damn good, but the defenses look far, far worse. Obviously, so it's something they got to fix, their defense going forward. The game against the Giants this week, that could be an interesting one, but the Bears offense turning some heads in that game. Feel like they're going to stay put in that one after that one. 17, the Texans go down a spot. The Texans are playing much better football recently. I could not drop them more because they outplayed a good Broncos team for majority of this game, and their quarterback, C.J. Stroud, goes down. And it's an assumption, but I feel like they might win this game if he does not go down. So we can't hold that too much against the Houston Texans here on that one. They're playing better football. They outplayed the Broncos, especially while their starting quarterback was in there, but they did fall short at the end of the day. The Jags pulled off a win. They do go down 1. Mainly, I just feel there are 15 teams better than them right now. The Jags-Raiders game, there were some impressive, moments. Obviously, they were showing that they can be explosive on offense, especially when they need it most, and they clutched up on the 2-point conversion, even though there was a wide-open receiver. But at the same time, I felt like that was a battle between two very inconsistent teams. The Jags, like we said, they kind of rely on takeaways a little bit here. So they're going to be at number 16. They're still an explosive team that can create some takeaways, and they can be explosive on offense. Big game against the Texans this week. I mean, that's going to decide a lot in the rankings this next week here. Big-time game. We'll see if Stroud plays. 15, the Ravens go up 2 spots. I mean, they don't have their record really going for them yet, but we could see when they're healthy, what team they're putting on the field right now. It's certainly better than a lot of teams that have a better record than them. So really a dominant second half outing against the Dolphins, and they end up pulling away and winning big. So they're starting to get things together here. We know what this team's capable of, but they got to continue to stack wins. Tough one against the Vikings. The Vikings seem to be a little bit of a sneaky team here, so that should be an interesting game this week. 14, the Steelers will stay put. I mean, a big-time win against the Colts. Somebody finally took the Colts down. Again, another one of those situations where you would think the Steelers would move up from that, but you'll see what's ahead of them. You cannot move these teams down lower than, the current spots that they're at. Steelers were stacking some losses before that, so winning that game prevented them from moving down more. So now if they stack some wins, they're going to continue to climb here. But a very impressive outing. They finally got that defense going. The defense can play like that. It's a scary team because the offense is better, much better than it's been in the past. 13, the Niners will stay put. They had a dominant outing against the Giants. McCaffrey went wild. Just not enough room to kind of move them up. You kind of see the similar situation with the Steelers here. The Chargers are going to stay put at 12. I mean, not the prettiest, but they had some, mistakes early in the game, and they dominated the rest of it against the Titans, but no room to move them up. How will they be with no Joe Alt going forward? That's kind of the question. They'll play the Steelers on Sunday Night Football, one of the bigger games this upcoming week. Niners got the Rams again. That should be a good one as well. The Lions go down a whopping 7 spots. Did not expect them to lose this week. Did not expect to be moving them down 7 spots. A lot of other teams winning, looking better, pushing them down. At the same time, this loss makes you look back at the rest of the season that's happened so far, and I'm kind of going like, how good are the Lions? Like, they've actually been very, very inconsistent. They beat kind of the weaker teams. Besides the Bucs, I thought things really went their way in that game. So they're not really consistent on either side of the ball. They don't feel as good as they have been in the past. They're definitely missing Ben Johnson. So trying to figure out what the Lions' true identity is right now. So they moved down quite a few spots they always beat the Vikings in recent years when the Vikings were really, really good. The Vikings are struggling, and the Lions get completely outplayed and lose to them at home in Detroit. So I thought that kind of meant something there. The Chiefs go down 5 spots. Yeah, before this week, they've been playing really good football, and they lost to the Bills in Buffalo. Big whoop. At the end of the day, they are 5-4. They are 5-4, so there are other teams that have to be ahead of them right now. It's not, purely based off record, but there are other teams that are playing really good football, a little more consistent right now. Not worried about the Chiefs if we're talking playoffs and things like that, but right now this is where they sit. And another team that could be a contender moving down a big amount of spots, the Packers go down 6 spots. Just get completely upset to the Panthers, completely disappointing. How many games have they put a full 4 quarters together? Very little to none right now. So disappointing. The defense did their part, but I guess the positive thing for the Packers is that they play better against better competition. So I guess that's a good thing if or when you make it to the playoffs. But they got to figure it out in these games that they should be putting teams away and certainly not losing them. And they got upset to the Panthers this week. You got to move down for that one. Eagles, kind of a rare situation where they move up a few spots while being on a bye. The earlier portion of the season resume looks pretty good. They start, to underwhelm a bit, somewhat recently, but kind of get back on track very recently. They'll play the Packers on Monday Night Football, 8 versus 9. That will determine a lot in these rankings. So that is a huge game, maybe the biggest game of the week. Very much excited for that. Number 7, the Broncos go up 3 spots. Yeah, they were very, very, very fortunate that C.J. Stroud went down. They were getting outplayed by the Texans by quite a bit. But the fourth quarter, Broncos show up. They pull it off. They have offense in the fourth quarter. They have defense almost all game for the most part, even without Patrick Surtain. So, again, people kind of questioning, are these types of things going to keep up? But they're winning at the end of the day. They are winning, and at times they're pretty good on both sides of the ball, more so on defense. They'll play the Raiders this week. Could Raiders with Brock Bowers play, be a sneaky team and be in Denver? It'll be a tough one for the Raiders to win. So the Broncos should be able to keep winning here. Perfect world to be at the top of the top. Want them to be a little more convincing, right, with these ones. Perfect world if you had to nitpick. The Bucs will remain at 6. Even though, they're off a bye, but even though they are coming off a win, they haven't looked as clean, I'd say, even though they've been very beat up, but everyone's beat up recently. So do they get back on track? Another one of the better games of the week. They'll play the New England Patriots. So that should be a big-time game. A lot will be decided in that one, obviously, with these rankings. The Colts go down 4 spots. A disappointing loss against the Steelers. Completely outplayed. The final score may not even show it. Daniel Jones looked like the old Daniel Jones. They allowed a lot of pressure this week and the previous week. So it kind of brings up a question. Is there a good defensive game plan out there for Daniel Jones, this offense line, this offense in general going forward? Or is it just a couple week thing? We'll see. But can't move them down any more than this for right now, because you look at the entire resume, the entire body of work. There's been a portion of this year where the Colts have looked like the best team in football. Will they ever get back up there to that point? Maybe there's some doubt there, but they still have a good chunk of the season playing really, really good football. So we'll see if they can get back on track against the Falcons this week. That could be a little bit of a sneaky game, but a lot of good games this upcoming week. For the Patriots going, who would have thought the Patriots would be in the top 4 before this year started? Felt they can be sneaky. This is better than sneaky, right? Up 4 to number 4. A little sloppy the last couple weeks, but they still find ways to win. They're streaking and they're playing some pretty good football. They're digging them. Well, not digging themselves out of holes, but they're finding ways to win and overcome some issues within games. That's actually a good thing. Even though there's some turnovers in there, specifically in this one against the Falcons, they find ways to win, and I do like that. The Bills go up 6 spots to number 3. Yeah, there is a little bit of a debate there with the Patriots somewhat recently beating the Bills. The Bills are coming off a big-time win against the Chiefs. The Chiefs were getting really hot. It's a heavyweight battle. When you're going against the best, you want to see who brings out the best, right? Who comes out on top, and the Bills did that. And they outplayed the Chiefs by quite a bit. So that played a big part here. So I felt with that heavyweight win and outplaying the Chiefs by quite a bit, the Bills were deserving of going up 6 spots to number 3. But right now, today, and this year, through the body of work, the resume, how these teams look, how these teams are playing, there are without a doubt a clear top 2 teams right now the way they are playing. And that is the Seattle Seahawks, who would have thought they'd be in the top 2 before this year started, up 5 spots to number 2. And it's the NFC West show here. The LA Rams up a spot to number 1. The Seahawks are playing unreal football right now. Both these teams, you could say, they could throw the ball, they could run the ball, they can control the clock, they could rush the passer, they could stop the run, they can make plays on the ball. I mean, they're both playing out of their minds right now. Extremely impressed with Seattle, what they're doing, exceeding expectations by a long shot. Very, very dominant at times. And the same with the Rams. There's times where I'm like, the Rams are the team to beat, not just talking right now, but maybe all the way through the year. That could be the team to beat, maybe if Puka is healthy. So the Rams and Seahawks, I think, are in a league in their own right now. It doesn't mean like the Bills can't beat them or they won't be better than them at the end of the year. Not really saying that's not the case. Just right now, looking at what they're doing right now, how they're playing, and how they've been playing for the last several weeks, very much impressed with those 2 NFC West teams. So watch out for the Cardinals, though. They're getting a little sneaky, and the Seahawks got them this week. The Rams, can they beat the Niners? They got them this week. So a couple interesting games there, but that'll wrap it up for the power rankings. Let me know your guys' thoughts where you would rank teams heading into Week 10. We got all kinds of content on the channel and on our Twitter, especially covering the trade deadline as it is near here. So join us. It's going to do it. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.